When you lose someone you love, the last thing you should have to think about is government paperwork. But within days, it starts. Forms, phone lines, agencies that don't talk to each other, and nobody hands you a checklist. Most families assume someone else is handling it. The funeral home, a sibling, the bank. But here is the hard truth. There is no someone. A lot of this falls to you. Miss a step, and one of two things happens. You leave behind money your family is owed, or you get a letter demanding money back that you already spent. So take a breath. We're going to walk through the steps that matter most in the right order. Here is what almost everyone gets wrong. People think there is one place you report a death and every agency finds out. There isn't. There is one report that does double duty. When a death is reported to Social Security, that same report reaches Medicare. In most cases, the funeral home files it for you. But that report does not finish the job. The Department of Veterans Affairs, the Internal Revenue Service, and any pension or retirement system are all separate. You may still need to reach each of them yourself. That is how you stop payments, close accounts, and claim what your family is owed. Not all of it happens automatically. So what actually ties this whole process together? One document, the death certificate. Many agencies, banks, and insurance companies will ask for a certified copy, not a photocopy. A certified copy from your state or county vital records office. Order more than you think you need. We suggest around 10. If you order just 2 or 3, you can end up waiting on more, right when you need to move fast. Before you start making claims, pull 3 things together if you can. First, certified death certificates. Second, the Social Security number and date of birth. Third, a simple list of what they had, where their income came from, which benefits they received, what accounts were in their name. You do not need every detail today. You just need a starting map, so nothing gets forgotten. Now, we move in order. Social Security is your first call, and there is a reason it comes first. Usually, the funeral home reports the death, using a form called the Statement of Death. If they didn't, you can call Social Security directly at 1-800-7721-213. This is where families get caught. Social Security pays a month behind, and no benefit is due for the month a person dies. So the payment that lands after the death, the one covering that final month, has to go back. Here's the easy way to remember it. If someone passes in July, it is the payment that arrives in August that must be returned. If it came by direct deposit, ask the bank to send it back. If a check arrives, do not cash it. And if you are ever unsure which month a payment covers, call Social Security before you spend it. There is also a payment that goes the other way. Social Security pays a one-time death benefit of $255. It usually goes to a spouse. It goes to a spouse living with the person, or an eligible child. It is small, but yours to claim. You have 2 years to apply. That $255 is a one-time payment. Survivor benefits are the ongoing ones, and this is where real monthly money is at stake. A surviving spouse may qualify. So may some divorced spouses, minor children, disabled adult children, and sometimes dependent parents. And this is the part people miss. For most families, survivor benefits are not automatic. Reporting the death does not start them, and you cannot apply online. You apply by phone or at a Social Security office. There is one exception: if you are already getting spouse benefits on that record. Social Security usually switches you over automatically. But even then, call them about that $255 payment. There is a timing strategy. It can mean a larger check for the rest of your life. It is too important to rush through here, so we made a separate video. We will point you to it in the description. If the person who died was a veteran, there is a separate set of benefits to check. And reporting the death does not automatically start those survivor benefits. You have to claim the benefits you qualify for. Depending on the situation, the VA may help with burial costs, plus a separate allowance toward the plot. Our guide has the amounts. For an eligible surviving spouse, there may also be a monthly benefit. It is called Dependency and Indemnity Compensation, or DIC. And DIC is not the only VA survivor benefit. Some families also qualify for a survivor's pension, or for money still owed. Timing matters here, so those forms and deadlines are in the guide. There are also honors available at no cost: a headstone, a flag, and burial in a national cemetery for eligible veterans and their spouse. To start any of this, report the death to the VA. Then file the claim that matches the benefit you want. Burial, survivor benefits, and cemetery honors each use a different form. They are all in the guide. After Social Security and the VA, a few more agencies wait quietly. Miss them, and it costs you. In most cases, there is still a final tax return for the year the person died. It is filed much like a normal return, and if a refund is owed, there is often a form to claim it, called Form 1310. A surviving spouse filing jointly does not need it, neither does a court-appointed representative, but anyone else claiming that refund usually does. If the person was a current federal employee, contact their agency's Human Resources Office. If they were a federal retiree, contact the Office of Personnel Management, or OPM. An eligible surviving spouse may be owed a monthly survivor annuity. And check separately for any federal life insurance and a thrift savings plan account. Those pay out on their own tracks. If they were a military retiree, report the death to the Defense Finance and Accounting Service. If they signed up for the Survivor Benefit Plan, a spouse may start a monthly annuity. And there may be a final prorated payment called arrears of pay. That is a separate claim, so ask about it. And if they worked for the railroad, contact the Railroad Retirement Board. If that is your family, contact the Railroad Retirement Board directly. Then there is the everyday list, the banks, your state motor vehicle office to cancel the driver's license, and the credit bureaus to mark the file deceased. That stops someone from opening new credit in their name. This sadly happens. You usually only need to contact one bureau, and it will notify the other two. You do not have to do all of this in one afternoon. You just have to know these exist. Before we close, here is the short list of mistakes. Spending the SS payment for the month of death. Ordering too few death certificates. Order around 10. Assuming survivor benefits start on their own. They don't. You have to apply. And missing benefit claims and deadlines. Simply because no one told you they existed. None of these are hard. They are easy to miss when you are grieving. That is why a checklist matters. So here are the steps. Start with death certificates, then Social Security, then survivor benefits, then the VA, then the IRS. That order keeps you from doing this twice. It keeps you from missing what is owed. None of this is really about paperwork. It is about carrying. It's about carrying it with a little less weight on your shoulders. Download the free guide at govclarity.net. The link is in the description. It has every form number and deadline in one place. Take it one step at a time. You've got this.
Thank you for watching GovClarity. Remember, you can find our complete guide and all official links in the More section. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit. Remember to hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest videos. We're here to make government procedures easier for you every step of the way.